Well, let's start with this week, and Philip Lowe perhaps hurt his chances of being reappointed as the Reserve Bank Governor in September in two different ways. Or to look at it another way, Lowe maybe figured his chances of retaining a job are now minimal, and so has exerted his independence to the fight against inflation in the most vigorous way possible. First, he raised interest rates again. The cash rate now 4.1%, higher than the forecast peak rate for interest rates of 3.85% in the federal budget that was just handed down 1 month ago. The government, you sense, is respectful of the RBA's independence, but maybe not well pleased.
The Reserve Bank's got a job to do and I've got a different job to do, and you'll see in the budget how I'm going about that job. The point that I made yesterday and the point that I'm happy to make again today is when Australians are under the pump, I think many people will find it difficult to understand and difficult to cop the decision that was taken independently yesterday.
If we had not tightened monetary policy, the cost of living would be higher for longer. This would hurt all Australians and the functioning of our economy. This would ultimately require even higher interest rates to get inflation to come back down again, and more unemployment.
Parts of the Labor Party past and present castigated the Reserve Bank for that rate rise.
The Reserve Bank has got their wage forecasts wrong for 10 years.
Yeah.
So you go back and look at the data like the OECD just did and go, well, actually, it's not wages. Yeah. And he goes, well, there's future wage rises we've got to put up in rates. I mean, this bloke has lost the plot. He's given the middle finger on the way out the door to the Australian public as he gets shuffled out the door.
For you see, it's the linkage of wages and a lack of productivity growth that Philip Lowe's identified in recent weeks that will most trouble Labor. Until now, government, state and federal could easily blame the RBA for rising interest rates as it fights inflation. But by linking wages, inflation and higher interest rates to the lack of productivity growth, Lowe partially lands the mess firmly back at the feet of government for its government policy or lack of policy that will shift the dial on productivity.
The productivity reform agenda, we really need to focus on that, because if we're going to have nominal wage growth of 3.5% to 4%, then we need to have productivity growth of 1% a year. We're not generating that at the moment. So that's not fully within the hands of government, because business has an important role to play as well. So that's one area to focus on.